Hello, welcome to Caesar's Snack Sandwich. Today I have a quick video for you on ICHI. Now, ICHI is one that's been around for a little while. I've kind of faded it, but today I'm covering it. So let's take a look at what's going on inside ICHI, okay? Today I don't have a flowchart for you, don't really need one. So I'm going to use the docs to explain some things, and I'm going to use the front end to talk a little bit about it, okay? So if you come to the front end, there's all of these different vaults, okay, single-sided deposit vaults that are on here, okay. So there's Polygon, Ethereum, and Arbitrum 1, and they're going to be working with Blueprint on Ethereum pretty soon, okay, so when that goes live. So basically what it is you let's say you hold one of these tokens and you want to get some ROI on them. You want to get some, earn some power with them, so you can deposit them in these vaults, and these vaults will supply your assets to concentrated liquidity positions and try to build up your asset. Okay, so if you look here at these numbers here, these are, they call it IRR, internal rate of return, okay? And what that means is this is the rate of which your quantity of tokens is increasing. It doesn't consider the US dollar value of your tokens, unless you're, of course, using, USDC. I'm pretty sure there's a USDC vault here. If you're using USDC, then of course you're going to be considering the US dollar value of it. But the algorithm, or that formula doesn't use the price oracle of the tokens. It just uses quantity of them. So it's trying to increase the quantity. Now, when you deposit, let's say you wanted to do this ETH, so you would come to ETH, you'd say, oh, I want to get started. You'd say, oh, I have ETH to deposit, and I want it to be paired with, in this case, USDC. So then it's going to take your ETH, and it's going to pair it with other people's ETH, and it's going to put it into the USDC ETH concentrated liquidity position in specific things that I'm going to show you on the docs. And then it's going to manage that for you in order, with the goal of increasing the amount of ETH that you have. Now, when you do deposit it into here, you have to make sure you've chosen a paired token that you're also acceptable, like you also accept as something you want to perhaps get, because there'll be times when you withdraw that you're going to get some of this USDC along with the ETH as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so let's go over to the docs. As usual, I would suggest you dig through these docs, read them yourself. Go to the ICHI Discord or Telegram or whatever, ask more questions, verify what I'm saying here. But it's pretty interesting. Okay, so like I said, this is a concentrated liquidity managing program. So it's hands off. You put your money in. The algorithm and the keepers, they do everything for you. Okay, so there are 5 states in which this protocol adjusts things or changes things. Okay, so the first thing is that when you deposit your ETH in there, it goes into the vault and it waits. It doesn't go directly into these positions, because this algorithm or this system doesn't actually swap any tokens. Okay, and based on my understanding, I don't think there's any need to swap any tokens unless there's a huge variation in the ability to deposit the assets as these formulas or these recipes dictate. Okay, so if we come down to these different recipes here and we go through them one by one, there's a healthy state, and this is what they basically want. So if you look at this middle line here, this is the spot price, and then if this is 80% of the tokens are in ETH in my case, and then the rest, the 20%, is in USDC. And you'll notice that 15% is in a concentrated liquidity position here, and then the 5% is all arranged forever, okay? Because that's if there's a huge swing in price very quickly, they want to be able to be buying ETH all the way down here, and then usually that price, will correct itself or come back up, or in most cases, right, depending on the token, of course, right? But they do provide this tail of USDC very, very, very far down. Okay, so now remember what I said, they don't like to swap tokens. So in most cases, like if you're the first depositor, then of course you're going to have to get swap tokens because you can only deposit WETH into the pool, right? But if you want to, if you're depositing, if there's already assets there, they're going to try their best not to do any swapping. They're just going to put your ETH into this 80% bucket and so forth. So there are these other two lines here. There's this over inventory rebalance trigger and under inventory rebalance trigger. So as the price goes up into the blue, you're selling ETH for USDC, and it's getting closer and closer to this line where they're like, hey, we've sold too much ETH. So and remember, when they sell ETH, they're getting trading fees. So they're increasing their assets to some extent. But if it goes too far, then they feel it's not good. So once it hits one of these two lines, then these Chainlink keepers will adjust the position. Okay. Now everybody's in here together, so all of this gas cost to adjust the position is socialized across all the depositors, okay? So let's go first with it if the price goes down, right? So if the price is going down, then you're buying ETH, buying ETH, buying ETH, buying ETH, and once it hits this trigger price, right? Then it's going to do this adjustment, okay? And it heavily changes the structure. If you look at this system, the way this is laid out versus the way this is laid out. So as the price goes down and hits that trigger point, right? Then you've used your USDC up here to buy a whole bunch of ETH, right? And then it's going to squish in the concentrated liquidity position a little bit and make it more likely to, if the price comes back up, then it's going to have it's going to sell more fast. It's going to sell that ETH back quicker to try to get to that, again, that 80-20 split, right? So 80% WETH, 20% USDC, okay? So that's why it's kind of squishing that range a little bit and it's saying, oh, I'm going to sell more. As you can see, the height of it goes up quite a bit, right? So you can take a look at the numbers and see exactly the math if you want, but that's the general idea, okay? Now let's say if it swings the other way and the price goes up and it crosses that this blue line here, and so that means you've sold more ETH than you would like. So in this case, you can see it's 70, or like roughly 75%. So when you've sold 5% of your ETH, they're like, hey, it's time to slow down the selling. We don't want to keep selling all of it. So then it's going to adjust it and take all the USDC, put it right at that price, right? I'm sorry, right below that price. And then it's going to make all the WETH, and it's going to extend it to full range. So it'll slow down the selling. You can only, it'll only sell a little bit every time the price goes up, 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 okay? And then again, as the price comes back down, there's always these blue lines that trigger to jump between these three states, okay? And as you can see, they're kind of contrary to each other, right? Especially these ones, they kind of mirroring each other to the opposite. And then there are these other two states. So the high volatility state is basically, if you just read it, it says difference between 5-minute and slow 60-minute TWAPs, as well as between current price and fast TWAP, will be used to detect such price movements. By default, a 6% difference triggers a high volatility state. In the high volatility state, the liquidity will spread out into full ranges on both tokens. So basically, if it detects that the price has been changing quite drastically during a high volatility, it just takes your assets and or everyone's assets and spreads them out across the whole range so that it's going to not leave range. Like it won't go outside of your your liquidity range, the price, and then you won't be all in one token. So it's trying to maintain that your assets as much as possible, okay? And then an extreme high volatility state where it's like a 25% difference, right? It's quite drastic in those TWAPs and the current price. Then they will just stop the vault, say no more deposits, pause everything. Of course, it's already in full range because it's going to hit high volatility state before it hits extreme volatility state, right? So it'll be sitting in there, and then the team will have to come in and assess how to rebalance this thing to kind of get back the best situation, okay? So this is kind of like the emergency trigger and stop people from adding more money to this vault, okay? So that pretty much covers how this thing works and how these algorithms are different. I like this thing because it's very different than what normal ALMs are doing, which is constantly just trying to keep the range within a boundary of this current price. This is very different. This is like the focus of this is to control the inventory of your assets. So try to keep your assets, uh, the inventory of your token at that 80%. Okay, so you're giving up that 20% immediately so that you can get the trading fees, but then you are the system's trying to maintain your quantity of tokens as opposed to just trying to keep like with the price, because there's a lot of times where a lot of these ALMs are like actually buying high and selling low because they are moving the ranges up and down. I'm not going to get into the details of that right now, but I like this. This is very unique. This is very different, and it's worth taking a look at and getting a deeper dive. I'm going to do a little bit more research on it and look at the numbers and stuff like that for myself. But that's it. So I hope this has been useful and interesting, and thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.